Baturdays. Baturdays. Omnidog and the Minister of Comics talk forever, get right your ergonomics. Taking questions from the chat. With a name like that, you think they talk more about the fact. Baturdays. 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 In the BatCave.
Heyo, it's Omnidog and the Minister of Comics here on Baturdays in the BatCave. And before we get into our topic, we have a special guest that actually wants to show us his toys. Because toys are the most important part of childhood. So we have Bat Sam. Take it away, Bat Sam. Who do you have? You have Green Goblin?
Green Goblin.
Green Goblin. What does he throw?
A pumpkin.
A pumpkin.
What's this one?
Hulk.
And what does Hulk say?
Hulk is smash.
Yeah. And who's this?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. What does Spider-Man's web sound like? Remember, what's Spider-Man's name? All right, buddy. Say goodbye
Peter
to
Parker. He said it.
Oh my God.
Good night.
Bye, Bat Sam. Good night.
Love you. Here, buddy. Want to take your toys? All right, bud. Good night. All right, take it away, Jess.
That was awesome. So this week, we had some very sad news, and it just reminded me of if I can just digress for a sec, not digress, but you and I had very different childhoods, Minister, in the way of content that we would consume. As I was a kid growing up, there was just the big two and no other comics. Not that many animated shows or superhero shows, not many movies. And if a creator or voiceover artist in the 70s or 80s, and maybe even in the first part of the 90s, if they passed away, even if they, unless they were creating something like Superman, you may never even read about it. So I may never have known growing up about, or when I became an adult, creators or voiceover artists or actors passing away that were meaningful to me as a kid. And so you and a great deal, I would say almost I think your entire generation, if they were into animated stuff or into superheroes, they grew up watching Batman the Animated Series. And another difference in how we grew up is that not only is the internet has made it possible for us to not only focus on our hobbies, but we can get information about the talents behind our hobbies almost instantaneously. If they get married, if they have kids, if they pass away, whatever happens to them, with the internet now, we can find out right away. And also another difference is that your generation has access to them in person, where we not only do we think we know them, but we actually can meet them at cons. There are major cons in all the cities, not only San Diego, but any major city will have one or two Comic Cons a year. A smaller city like Alexandria, where I am, will have a few cons maybe or Baltimore will have creative talents show up. And if you get somebody that has a touch with people, has a certain kind of knack for connecting with people, you can actually say that not only do you feel like you know the person, you actually do know the person. And when it comes to a guy like Kevin Conroy, who was, of course, the voice of Batman for the animated series, I can see how this one we lost earlier this week, Carlos Pacheco. This year has been a bad year. We've also lost people like George Perez and Neil Adams, major creative forces. But it feels like Kevin Conroy's passing was not only kind of a surprise to everyone, but I felt like most of my compatriots in this hobby are your age, 30s, early 40s, and I'm, of course, older. But it feels like this one stung everybody a little bit more than all the other passings, whereas we respect all the people that passed, certainly. This one feels almost personal, like your generation feels a real personal loss with this particular person. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, I think that he is the voice of Batman for almost everyone, especially of my age. I've seen so many posts, so many status updates of people just saying, every time I read a Batman comic, he's the voice that I read. He's the voice that I hear. So his voice goes beyond the television, goes beyond the movies. It goes into our minds, and it's actually what we think of and what we hear when we read about Batman in comics. So I think he's transferred over and just become so important to so many of us, even people who were older than me. Like I saw somebody posted in the chat that this is a cartoon that people watch who didn't watch cartoons. And this is a cartoon that aired primetime at the beginning. And so it was so good, they didn't just air on Saturday mornings. It was actually aired on evening. I think it was like 8 o'clock at night on Fox when it first came out. It was that good because it wasn't just a bunch of cartoon animated voiceovers. It was actually theatrically trained Broadway actors, Shakespearean actors. They really grabbed a lot of different type of people. And Kevin Conroy, all he knew about Batman, he would say, was Adam West. And he's like, hey, I love that show growing up, but it's not really what I want to do as an actor. Like, no, actually, the character is dark. He's serious. He has a lot of pathos and ethos to him, and he really got into it. And he just brought this whole other level to it. He could really bring a lot of compassion and humanity to Bruce Wayne, but he could also be really scary and intimidating as Batman. And he could just do a lot of different things. I posted a couple different clips on my Instagram at Minister of Comics. So my 3 favorite clips of him voiceovering Batman over the past 3 decades, basically. And the first one was the famous "I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman." That's what everybody wanted him to say, right? That's probably the most well-known clip of him imaginable. But there's 2 a little less well-known ones. One's from Justice League Unlimited, the epilogue episode, which basically serves as an epilogue to Batman Beyond. And I don't want to spoil too much of it, but there's a flashback in that episode to Batman is sent in by Amanda Waller to kill this psychic girl who's destroying the world, basically. And he goes in and he has no intention of killing her because we know Batman would never do that. And he goes in, he knows this psychic girl is dying. And that's why she is just destroying the world around her. And she says, "You've been sent here to kill me, haven't you?" And he says, "Yes." And she goes, "You're not going to kill me though, are you?" "No." And she says, "I'm dying." And he says, "Yes, I'm sorry." And then she says, "Will you stay with me until the end?" And he sits down and just holds her hand until she dies. And he says, "Yes, no, I'm sorry." He brings so much with so little. And that's just, it's like with an actor who can just communicate with their face without any words. He can communicate so much with just one word dialogue. Or even the ending of Flashpoint Paradox. Did you ever see that animated movie, Jess?
I haven't seen it yet, no.
Well, you read the comic, though, Flashpoint. Remember at the end where the Flash brings the letter to Batman from Thomas Wayne? And he hands it to Bruce, and they animate it perfectly for the movie, where he gets this letter, and he says, "This is my father's handwriting." And he opens it up, and you see at the bottom it says, "With love, your father, Thomas Wayne." You see 2 tears hit the page from Batman. and he looks to the Flash and says, "You're one hell of a messenger. Thank you." And the way he said it was just like, oh my gosh, like it just makes me cry every single time. We're never going to see his like again. He is the voice of Batman forever. As much as I love Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson, Christian Bale, Adam West, he is Batman to me.
And I think it sounds like he is Batman to a lot of people. The majority of the posts I saw, as you said, people were saying he's the Batman I hear in my head when I read the comics, which is pretty remarkable when you think about it, because when I read comics, I don't usually have a voice in my head, but for him to influence people so much so that they hear his voice, that's really a testament, I think, to the impact his talent had on a whole generation that not only grew up watching him, but also on older people such as myself, that you got me into watching the show. And it's going on 3 years now that I've been watching it, and I'm almost finished. But
now you have to, Jess.
Sorry, yeah.
Now you have to.
Well, I was going to say maybe this is the episode where we at least talk about some of the episodes that I've watched. I'm about 2/3 of the way through the second season, but it's I'm a pretty discriminating viewer when it comes to stuff. I'm not a movie critic, and I'm not a TV critic, and I'm not a comic book critic. All I am is a comic book reviewer. But I like that show a lot. I like watching it. I like recognizing the different voices. I like the writing. I like the animation in it. It's very engaging, and it's much more. I don't even want to call it a cartoon because it feels much more mature than that. It's so influential. The Tim verse, the Dini verse, whatever you want to call it, that these guys got together and created something so influential with so much talent behind it. It's a disservice to call it a cartoon. It's really
it's a cultural touchstone. I think the best word to describe that show more than anything else is timeless. And I think some of the best pieces of art, movie, TV, comic, not always, but a lot of times, the ones that stick around the most are timeless. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter when they were made because you can enjoy it at any time. And I think it's the way they animated it, the way they designed it, like the whole Dark Deco look is what they called it. Instead of Art Deco, they called it Dark Deco because they drew on black paper to give it that really noir feel to it. And like the technology is kind of from the 30s, 40s, but it's also kind of modern day. And they really just had this style that just, like I said, it's timeless. It's never going to be outdated. It's never going to be old. It's always going to be retro. It's always going to be cool. And they just developed this style that no other show can ever replicate. As cool as the Ed Brubaker Batman cartoon is going to be wherever it ends up, because HBO is filled with idiots who got rid of that cartoon by Ed Brubaker, J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves, and it's like, come on, really? You're getting and Bruce Timm? You're really going to pass on that TV show? Well, you guys, I can't trust you at all. But we're all going to see it somehow. But as good as that show is probably going to be, it's still not going to be as special as this show was. And this is like the cartoon. This is like the show. I would say this is my favorite show of all time. I love Seinfeld. I love Breaking Bad, other shows like that. But this is the most important show for me personally.
This is an interesting, I know I have a lot of comments already, and I appreciate it from the viewers, but this is interesting from Kevin. As he said in multiple interviews, this is about Kevin Conroy, when the people in charge of Batman told him what it was about and the character itself, he said, "You're talking about a Shakespearean tragedy."
Right.
And
he really didn't know much about Batman, and Bruce Timm kind of had to educate him. But as he voiced him over the years, he really saw how deep this character was. He's not just a one-dimensional superhero. He's a deeply flawed and damaged individual. And he was really able just to dig down deep into that. And there's some episodes you've probably watched already which really explores that, like Perchance to Dream, where the Mad Hatter puts him in that machine, and he puts him in that dream state of what he wants the most. And it's his parents being alive. You remember that one?
Yeah.
That's written by Joe R. Lansdale. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He wrote some of the best episodes, like the Sideshow episode, which has Jonah Hex. You're gonna love that one when you get to it. There's a whole like flashback episode with Jonah Hex and Ra's al Ghul in the Wild West.
Oh, okay. I haven't hit that one, and I apologize. I updated my phone, and now my notes are somehow in months where I created them. So it's going to take me a minute because I took notes on every single episode that I watched. So I will I'll answer questions for a bit while I'm searching for it, because I did I took notes on every single episode. Some episodes I watched multiple times. I liked them so much. You were a big influence on. Well, I mean, I watched it because of you and your love for it. So, and you were a big influence on maybe the shows that I sort of glommed onto. Except I liked one episode that people famously hated.
I've got Batman in my basement. You love that episode.
For some reason, I really like that episode. And when I
that's
told you
that's always at least bottom 5. Typically bottom 1. Typically.
For some reason, I liked it so much. I even got the print from Mondo about it. But I did. Of course, my favorite episode that I've seen so far is Almost Got Him.
That's my favorite one by far.
It's especially great because I love Adrienne Barbeau as Catwoman, and her part where she says "I almost got him" was like the cherry on the sundae of that perfect episode. I just love her voice as Catwoman, and it was and I also love who's the bad guy that Dean Wormer from Animal House plays?
Killer Croc?
The crime boss. No, the crime boss.
Oh, Rupert Thorne?
Rupert Thorne, yeah. He's voiced, and this actor passed away too a while ago. That was Dean Wormer. I know his voice from Animal House because I've seen Animal House 138 billion times. So I know his voice, and I love hearing him and knowing that he's a voice actor in this. And you I think you touched on it earlier. They really got, if they weren't top talent ahead of time when they voiced in the show, they became recognized as top talent via this show, right?
Yeah, because they weren't really voiceover actors. And I'm not trying to denigrate voiceover actors. They're very talented, but there was kind of like some similar overlay with these actors, with these voiceover actors. They had a cartoony voice a lot of the time, especially back then. And so Andrea Romano, the voice director, who's very famous for working on this show and all the other Timverse shows, brought in people who were, character actors on movies, TV show, guest stars. They were on Broadway and Shakespeare plays. She really went outside the box and brought a lot of different people. I think the only person who's truly, really famous is Mark Hamill.
Right.
And obviously some well-known people like Ed Asner and other people like that, but a true movie star, Luke Skywalker, that's pretty cool. I know for a while Mark Hamill wasn't really famous after Star Wars. He kind of lost touch a little bit with the public, and he just wasn't in a lot of stuff besides the Flash TV show back in the 90s, and Batman animated series really brought him back to prominence.
Yeah, and I think he showed his versatility and range because that voice doesn't sound like Mark Hamill at all.
No, I think Mark Hamill's he became so famous obviously because of Star Wars. Then I think his star kind of faded, but Batman animated series really brought him back into the spotlight, and he's really not left since then. Like he's so famous now for so many different things, and the Joker is one of them. I mean, I love Heath Ledger as the Joker; he's fantastic. Love Jack Nicholson, but Mark Hamill, I think he like Kevin Conroy, he is the Joker to me. Whenever I read comics, that's the Joker that I hear. I think he can bring that. He can bring that funny, hilarious Joker, but also he can be really scary at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, I agree with that. I consider him the he's the Joker voice I would hear. Yeah, the way you guys would say Batman is the voice, Kevin Conroy's the voice. I think, yeah, Mark Hamill's the voice that I would hear.
And it was really cool to see how close Kevin and Mark were over the years. Like they always had interviews together, always talked so highly of each other. And Mark Hamill posted a tribute to him yesterday and said he was like a brother to me. And that's what I saw a lot of people say. I think that's one of the coolest things about Kevin Conroy. It wasn't just that he was a great actor, which he was a great human being. And everyone, I never heard any negative things about him. Everyone loved him. And sometimes when you're really famous and you're at cons all the time, it gets pretty old for actors. And they get kind of bitter towards their fans. Like, okay, leave me alone. I get it. You like me as Batman. Cool. And it's easy to kind of get annoyed, but he never once seemed annoyed. He seemed to love it. He seemed to really care for his fans and appreciate them. And that goes a long way. Like, that's part of the reason why people love him so much, not just because of his voice, which was amazing, but because of how much he gave back to the community and loved the community.
Yeah, and that's there's a saying, you never want to meet your heroes, but he's somebody, I never read a bad story about him. I only read positive interactions with him. He really seemed to embrace it, that it meant so much to people, and that I think he almost felt honored that he could mean so much, that the show could mean so much to people, and that he helped deliver it to people. From what I've read, it felt like he felt it was almost like a privilege, and it came through in these, these con appearances where, you're right, people can get jaded. It can get hard. You have a line of 150 people that want to sign autographs and talk to you and stuff, and you can get tired really easily just even sitting there interacting with people. But I never heard a single story about him being anything but amazing to his fans.
And he's somebody, after he became Batman, like that's what he did. I mean, I'm sure he did other things too, but like that's really the major focus. And I'm sure, like some actors, you get typecast. Again, you can get kind of annoyed. Like, oh, come on, I want to do something different. But he really just embraced his character and did so many different things, like animated movies, he did video games. Like I know I was watching. Sam loves to watch Justice League Action, which is short Justice League cartoons. It's like a more kid-friendly show. And Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman on that one too. And he's not exactly ready for the animated series yet. He will, like, probably next year, a couple of years from now. But this is like an age-appropriate cartoon for him. And again, Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman. He's done so many different versions of this character.
Yeah, which I think also shows his range, because they're all different atmospheres or settings. Of video games obviously going to be a lot different than an animated show. So I think that really shows his range and versatility too.
And I think, I love Christian Bale as Batman, but my biggest complaint was the voice got so overblown as each movie went on. Like it got like too over the top and too like raspy. But Kevin Conroy had this upbeat, happy Bruce Wayne whenever he was in public, and then he had like a darker, more brooding Bruce Wayne when he was alone, and then you have like a Batman voice. And they all sounded similar, but so different. You could see how someone could talk to Batman, not hear Bruce Wayne. Even though it wasn't that different, but it was different enough that it just made you believe it. And that was just always so impressive to me.
Yeah, I remember when I started out watching, let's see, I found my notes, and I think the second episode I watched was Christmas with the Joker.
That's a great one. The awful lawful family.
I think I've been going in the order that the little handbill or whatever, the guide that came with the disc set that I bought. So I've been going by that. And so these might not be in the order that everybody else watched them in, but Christmas was with the Joker at the very end. Robin, well, it's Dick and Bruce sitting on a couch, if I remember correctly, and Dick said something about, you don't like It's a Wonderful Life? And he said, I couldn't get past the title. And I just said, this show is for me. I loved Mark Hamill as the Joker right in the second episode that I watched. And just Bruce sitting on the couch going, I couldn't get past the title. I just thought
he finally watches it. So wasn't it a great movie? It had its moments.
So we have a lot of comments that let's see. Whoa, I'm way behind, so I apologize to the viewers. Oh yeah, this is a good point. David Warner, that voiced Ra's al Ghul, apparently that's how you say it. David Warner is a pretty famous actor. Heroing, such tragic loss, and sadly one of many this year for comics. That's right. Let's see. And Hayden, of course, is right. Bat Sam is the new star. This is his channel now. And now Super Laugh Hard, actually, who I traded emails with today. Let me see. Because he had a lot of good. Oh, yeah. Kevin O'Neill passed away, too. Let's see. Oh, there's Cycle Cleveland. I didn't see Cycle was in the chat. There's Kenny. How you doing, Kenny? And let's see. When BTAS aired in the UK, it was part of a Saturday show, and many children switched from watching the rival channels Saturday show because of how excellent BTS was. Oh, and adults, how excellent BTS was and still is. And now you can help answer this question. Nearly everyone knows Harley Quinn first appeared in BTS, but isn't the show also more or less responsible for the modern version of Mr. Freeze as we know him? I'm happy to be proved wrong on this one, and I think Roboters helped to try to answer it. But is he? Is the show responsible for the sort of sympathetic Mr. Freeze that just wants to get Nora back somehow and doesn't? That's really his focus. He's not trying to really hurt anyone. But people are getting in the way of his trying to help his wife.
Right. I think the biggest thing about this show is that most of the time, Batman's not the star. He's kind of like the guest supporting character. It's really interesting character studies, like the Two-Face two-parter, which I'm sure is one of the ones that you really enjoyed.
I did.
The Joker's kind of the only one who's like, he's never going to have like pathos. He's always going to be a maniac. The other, like Clayface, that two-parter was another fantastic example. But Heart of Ice by Paul Dini, he really gave him that interesting and tragic backstory. I think the most people knew about Mr. Freeze before them was the Adam West show. Was it Otto Preminger? Was that his name?
Yeah, he was the movie director.
Wasn't there two actors who played Mr. Freeze, and he was one of them on that show? I think they had two different actors. I know Otto Preminger was definitely one of them.
Yeah, he's definitely one of them. I don't remember.
Anyway, I mean, the Adam West show, it never really explored the backstory of these villains very much. But like, I love that line where Batman sees the video of what happened and how he became Mr. Freeze, and Mr. Freeze says, "Yes, I would shed a tear if I still had tears to shed." And then at the very end, he's in Arkham, and he has the globe, and he's looking at it, and he's crying. And then in his room, you see the snowflakes just coming from him crying. And it's just like, I remember listening to Paul Dini on Fat Man on Batman with Kevin Smith. They had a lot of episodes together, and he like would tear up just talking about that episode. It's like that's how much that meant to him personally. And that was the coolest thing about the show. Most cartoons, all the villains are kind of just, just one-dimensional. They're just mustache twirling. That was never the case with Batman animated series. They always had tragic backstories. You never could really root for what they did, but you understood why they did what they did.
They had a little more complexity.
Right. And that's what great storytelling is.
Yeah.
For anything, TV, movies, even if it's for kids, it can still be good quality. It doesn't have to be phoned in.
Now let's see. I have the first. I've got Batman in my basement. My notes say the Penguin, most fun episode yet. And everybody hates it. That's so funny.
There's not really an episode of the show that I hate. I don't think there's any episode that's truly terrible. There are just some that are 10 out of 10, amazing, perfect to me, like Almost Got Him, the Man Who Killed Batman, those kind of episodes. And there's some that are excellent. There's some that are okay, and there's some that are just like, maybe I'll watch it again someday. There's never been one that I absolutely hated, though.
Right.
But I remember one that a lot of people hate that I really love is The Forgotten. I don't know if you remember that episode where Bruce Wayne is trying to investigate the homeless disappearances in Gotham, and he ends up getting kidnapped and taken to a work camp. Did you see that one, Jess?
I'm checking. It doesn't look like I've seen it yet.
Because that was one of the first episodes in the first season.
Oh, what? Okay, wait.
Or maybe you just didn't take notes about it because you weren't that into it. I don't know.
No, Forgotten.
Yeah.
I watched it 8th. Fun, nice twist with the amnesia, I wrote.
Right, because he can't remember who he is. But I remember the coolest part of that episode is that he has a dream of all these homeless people coming up to him and him giving them money, trying to help them. And there's so many, they're reaching their hands out. And he starts crying because he realizes he can't help everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such a brilliant moment for Bruce, somebody who has everything. But no matter how strong he is, no matter how smart he is, no matter how wealthy he is, he can't fix the world's problems. He can't save everyone.
We got Sazmurph, Call Me Top Gun. How you guys doing? Let's see. Marvel Bab. Oh yeah, David Warner was great in the Star Trek, The Undiscovered Country. Super Laugh Hard says there's a bat-shaped hole in my heart, and he's aged 48.
Yeah, I think this is the only time I was working on I posted yesterday a tribute to Kevin Conroy. I teared up a little bit writing. I think it's the first time it's ever happened with a celebrity dying. Usually I'm like, oh, that's too bad. I don't know them personally. Not to be rude to anybody who tears up when a celebrity dies. It's not something that usually happens to me. But I think it just goes so much back to my childhood. Like Kevin Conroy in this show is responsible for my love for superheroes, for comics, for all things nerdy, basically. Like I remember as a kid jumping off the bus and running home. Because back then, I mean, I know I'm younger than you, Jess, but we still couldn't just watch anything we wanted whenever we wanted to. You had to have either on VHS or record it and that kind of stuff. You couldn't just stream anything or have things on demand. And I would get home just in time to watch Batman animated series. And sometimes it was Superman. They'd go back and forth. And if it was Superman, I'd go, oh, but I'd still watch it because I still liked it. But I like Batman even more.
Let's see. Phil's Nerdyverse. Very rare I get to catch you live in the UK, and it's past my bedtime. Nothing I can say about Kevin Conroy that others haven't. It's just very sad. Yeah, it really is.
The other thing is that we didn't know he was sick. That's the other thing.
Right.
It's kind of somewhat. I don't remember knowing if Chadwick Boseman was sick. Did we know it?
I didn't know. I don't think we did. He kept it very quiet.
So if we did, I mean, it wasn't the most, I guess some people maybe knew, but I never knew. And so when he died, it's like, oh, I didn't know he was even sick. And so I think it was the same with Kevin Conroy. He kept it so personal and secret, which is obviously his business, and he should do whatever he wants. So I think that was the reason why it was a gut punch too.
The only celebrity death that I can remember ever crying about, and man, I sobbed, and that was Charles Schultz. I think he meant to me in my childhood maybe what BTAS meant to you in your childhood. But I remember, I think it was the year 2000, 2001, somewhere in there, and that news really rocked me hard. So that's probably the only celebrity death that's affected me. And man, 40's in the chat. I enjoyed the interviews with Conroy even more than the show. He seemed like a nice person and embraced the character and the fans. He seemed genuinely humbled when he was complimented. He never got tired of saying the famous phrase, right?
Yeah, I am vengeance. Yeah, I am the night. Well, did you hear that story about how he was helping at a soup kitchen or something after 9/11? And he lived in New York and was trying to do whatever he could to help. And police officers and firemen would come in and be like, "You're Batman." He's like, "Yeah, but this isn't about me. I'm just trying to help." But no, do the voice. And so he just walked out and just said it. Everyone started applauding him. It was just like so happy. It just bringing joy to people in the midst of one of the worst tragedies in our nation's history. Having Batman being there, helping and serving was really cool for a lot of people.
That's amazing. I never heard that. Let's see. Robert, Bruce helping the crime doctor, and at the end tells him he is the only one who can give him what he needs, tell him what his father was just like, gold lines all throughout.
That's the Paging the Crime Doctor episode. Where Rupert Thorne is shot, and he doesn't want to go to the hospital, so he has to go to the crime doctor, who's actually his brother. That's a good
Crime
episode.
Doctor. Okay, I'm trying to see if
Since
what's it
you
called
like
again?
Paging the Crime Doctor.
Okay, I'm just gonna see if I saw it.
Oh, Jess, one of the coolest things, I wonder if you ever really touched onto this or really was appreciated, was the title cards for the episodes. Were always so beautifully drawn.
Oh yeah.
That was just so cool to me. I always loved those. I was always bummed whenever they redid the show for the final season, redid the style and everything. They got rid of the title cards. That always bummed me out.
And I also like pausing to see who the voice actors are.
Yeah.
Because I will recognize it, like Sub-Zero. That must have been a Mr. Freeze episode. I put great emotional acting by Michael Ansara, he must have been the voice for Mr. Freeze. Famous actor, famous Klingon on Star Trek, and husband to Barbara Eden, I Dream of Jeannie. They were married.
Are you more of a Bewitched guy or I Dream of Jeannie?
I
like I Dream of Jeannie.
If we're talking about crushes on actresses, it would be I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
I loved Bewitched though. But yeah, no, I had a massive crush. I think I still have a massive crush on Jeannie. Sure. Let's see. Beware the Grey Ghost. I loved. See No Evil. I didn't care for that one. Incredibly boring. Yikes. Wonder what that one. What was See No Evil about?
That's the one where there's a guy who has this invisibility suit. Yeah, it's not one of the best ones.
Of course, this is the series that gave me my favorite comic book character ever, and that's Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that should be your favorite show is because of that.
Yeah. We had our realtor in that I posted on Instagram. She's just so funny and has such a great sense of humor. And she loved the BatCave when we took her down here to show it. And she said to me, "Who is your favorite character?" And Patty was right there. And I said, "Well, Patty skeeved out about her, but I happen to love more than anybody Harley Quinn. And it's because of this show that I have my comic book crush on Harley Quinn."
You can't wear that Harley Quinn shirt unless she's not home, right?
She'll let me. The one she threw on the ground.
I just remember like the weeks that she's been gone for like a trip with her sisters or something. You always wear that shirt like 5 times.
That's the long sleeve one with Margot Robbie.
Right.
On it.
At one time, like it was like 2 weeks she was gone. We did like 3 live shows, and you wore it like every single time. Basically.
When I first got it, she's like, "Oh, this is pretty. Who is this?" And I said, "That's Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn." And she wrapped it up and goes, "Ew," and threw it on the floor. That's too funny. Let's see. Hayden, he was a lot of people's first or most enduring Batman. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know this. There's a great documentary about BTS on YouTube. It's an official Warner release. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on the Blu-ray that we have, Jess.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It's on YouTube as well. They put it on YouTube.
Okay.
But it's like an 1.5 hour long documentary just about the creation of the show and why it's so important.
Okay. Let's see. Greg Rucka is going to write it as well. That is the Ed Brubaker one,
right? Yeah, he's writing an episode for the new show.
Roboter says it was an homage to Fleischer's Superman and of animation in general. Yes, I'm old enough that I remember Fleischer's Superman.
I used to watch this as a kid. We had a VHS tape that we used to rent at the library that had a bunch of those Fleischer cartoons. They were so
cool.
Great. They still look good today.
Hayden, plus the writing was golden for a TV show. It's very rare that a show targeted at kids is very serious and deep. Never talked down to the audience or dumbed it down because of the audience's age. Good point. Perchance to Dream is Batman for the man who is
the Superman, the man who has everything. I think he's saying that episode is kind of like Batman's version of that.
Okay, yeah.
That's also a great Justice League episode, Jess. they do an adaptation of For the Man Who Has Everything.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm so far behind on my animated stuff.
Man, I'm so jealous. You get to watch Batman Beyond for the first time. You get to watch Justice League Unlimited for the first time.
Superman. I have the
Superman too. Yeah,
I have the DVDs for Superman. Let's see. Comic Nut. I love that they took comics from the Silver Age and made them into more interesting episodes.
It was cool how they brought in Denny O'Neil to write the Ra's al Ghul two-parter, the first one.
Right.
And they
That's
had
amazing.
the only thing is they didn't have the chest hair on Batman though. Wasn't that like a big deal back then? He had the chest hair, and everyone's like, "Whoa!"
I don't.
Not a big deal, but it was
it's an iconic cover.
It was uncommon for comic art to be that realistic.
Well, yeah, that's always been my point about those early Batman comic books is and what Neil Adams did to them in recoloring and re-inking them is that it's always robbed people of what we really need is those Silver Age Batman collections of the early 60s and then the late 60s, early 70s, so people could see what Neil Adams brought. And Dick Giordano, if he was the inker, sometimes Neil Adams inked his own work. But yeah, you make a point about the realism, and that's what we need is the unvarnished, realistic, because it was so groundbreaking at the time. It was such a cartoony look for Batman, and then all of a sudden it looked like Neil Adams drew him. He always said that if superheroes really existed, this is how they would look. And you see Batman on that cover with his cowl on still, but he's bare chested. And he's, ripped to shreds, but yeah, he has chest hair on. That's an iconic cover with Ra's in the background with the big sword.
And it's funny because one of your favorite Superman covers is Neil Adams' least favorite drawing he ever did, the one where he's breaking the chains.
Yeah.
He hates that cover.
I didn't know that. Why? Oh, I didn't know that at all.
He hates Superman's one leg. He thinks it looks totally unrealistic. And I'm like, Neil, have you looked at your recent stuff? I think that's
I have that poster on the stairs as you walk down into the basement.
Yeah, it's an iconic. Wait, did you ever watch? I know this isn't in the last season, but I think I might have told you to watch it and skip ahead. The Legends of the Dark Knight, wherever it's like different versions of Batman of kids telling stories about Batman.
Oh, I don't think I did.
They have the Dark Knight version with Frank Miller. They have the Dick Sprang version of they're in a music store with giant instruments.
You told me to watch that?
I think I told you about it. Like, I want to watch that one. I thought you'd watched it. Maybe you didn't though.
Oh, no way. I don't remember it at all.
I
gotta see that after the show.
Watch that tonight. It's a great episode.
Okay, it's Legends of the Dark Knight.
It's these kids who tell stories about Batman. Like, I heard this story, or my uncle saw this story, and one involves like the Dark Knight, him fighting the mutants in the mud pit, and it's a lot of the same dialogue. It's also my uncle was a security guard at this music store, and it's back in the 50s, Dick Sprang style, with the big piano that they're attached to.
Oh my gosh.
It's awesome. It's so good.
I'm totally watching that. I may actually, you do the show. I'm gonna go watch it right now.
But the cool thing is, in those montages of different versions of Batman, it's different actors. Like Michael Ironside, who plays Darkseid in the cartoons, plays Batman in the Dark Knight version. And some guy, hello, Robin, and the Dick Sprang one. It was just so cool.
Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever heard of that.
You have to watch that one. It's really good.
Hey Cage, how's it going? Oh, and here's an interesting thing. Mark Hamill based his Joker voice off of the Blue Meanie from Yellow Submarine. Star Wars brought Mark Hamill to the public eye, but Batman really showcased the depth of his talent. Harrison Ford was the annoyed one. Oh, you mean in general?
Yeah.
I'll
love Harrison Ford though. I love Harrison Ford no matter what. He's another guy. Whenever he dies, I'm gonna be devastated because I love Indiana Jones so much. It's like my favorite. Raiders of the Lost Ark. I have a poster in my room, as you've all seen in previous live shows. He's probably like one of the most important live action actors to me. I mean,
Mm.
Han Solo, just everything. I mean, he has obviously done some, not so great stuff too, but he's just done so many great movies over the years. Presumed Innocent, Witness, just so many great movies I could list off. Patriot Games, especially the Indiana Jones movies.
Oh, he was great in The Fugitive and
Oh,
Tommy
that's a
Lee
great,
Jones.
yeah, that's a great movie. Kimball,
I didn't do it. I
I
didn't
don't
kill my
care.
wife. I don't care.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones won the Academy Award for that movie. It's funny that he won for that movie. It's not the kind of movie you'd think will get nominated, but it's such a great movie.
Yeah, right in that time frame, The Fugitive and before and just after that, Harrison Ford had nothing but great roles and great movies.
Remember Witness? That's a great movie that no one talks about. Or do you ever see Presumed Innocent?
Yeah.
I have a funny story to tell you about that off air. That I think
Okay.
I don't want to tell you on air because I watched that movie when I was like 10 or 11.
Oh,
that's a pretty intense movie.
Holy smoke, 10.
I might have been 11 or 12, but even so, that's
yeah.
like, I mean, if you know the premise of that movie, I'm not going to say it on air, but it's a pretty intense movie.
I read the book, and I remember reading the book, gosh, back in the 80s, I think.
Is that Scott Turow?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you the story off air if I remember.
Okay. Let's see. Super laugh hard. For a long time, Conroy was the only actor to nail both Bats and Bruce. No disrespect to Adam West.
Adam West is great. He's iconic, but his Batman was his Bruce Wayne. They were like the same characters, and
yeah.
I mean, he wasn't given the chance to delve into the psyche of Bruce Wayne. That's not what the show was about. It was a comedy.
Right.
So as great as he was, I don't think he could really be the most iconic Batman actor because he never got to show that range that Kevin Conroy got to show.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
you can't even compare the shows. They were completely.
I mean, if Adam West is your Batman, I'm not going to disagree and say he's not, but I just think he's not given the range that other Batmen have been given.
Not at all.
Because Kevin Conroy has done funny versions of Batman. He's also done super serious versions of Batman. He's gotten to do a ton of different stuff over the course of video games, movies, TV shows that no other actor's been able to do.
I think she's still my number one crush, and that's Yvonne Craig as Batgirl, and the green crazy chick in Star Trek.
What about Julie Newmar?
I liked her, but I didn't have a crush on her like I did Yvonne Craig. The score made that show as well. Mr. Freeze is hauntingly beautiful. Here's Farhan. How you doing, Farhan? Justin Taylor, Kevin Conroy, thank you for everything in my childhood, sir. Rest in peace. Peace and love from Malaysia. Good to hear from you, Farhan.
I mean, that was a great point about the score. That was like the first animated show that had a score. Well, no, that's not true. That was the first era of shows that had a score, and that's because of Steven Spielberg. Because Steven Spielberg wanted to do shows, animated shows, and that's what they did Animaniacs, and Pinky and the Brain and all that stuff. And that was one of the first era of shows where they had a live orchestra doing the music. And Batman was one of those first shows to do that. And that was so unheard of to do that. That never happened.
And you made me such a fan that I ended up buying a box set of vinyl of Batman, the animated series.
Didn't you get something that Tyler didn't have and you made fun of him for it?
I think it was that, yeah.
It's probably something you both would do. You both love to rub at each other's faces when one person doesn't get what the other person wants.
Well, yeah, especially if one of us gets a toy before the other, even if it's like a day before, we'll post it on Instagram and tag each other just to rub it in. Yeah, you're right.
I did that to him once. I got that new Black Panther figure. You ever seen that Black Panther figure? It has like the cape and stuff. It came out like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I got that like a week before he did. He was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "Well, the funny thing is about Hasbro Pulse, it's usually the last one. Usually like the last person to get it if you order from there, which is funny because it's like buying directly from them, but it takes so long to get to your house."
Yeah, he and I both say their phrase is where fans come first, and he and I both say their phrase is actually where fans come last, because we always get our figures after everybody else. Like Walmart and Target will get the figures before we get them.
Thankfully, Amazon's getting way more pre-orders from McFarlane and Marvel Legends, and that's my favorite place to buy figures because yes, Amazon damages books, but I don't keep my action figure boxes. so don't really care if they're damaged.
Right.
So I love buying from Amazon because they're not expensive. You don't have to pay for shipping, and I don't care if the boxes get mangled as long as the figure's fine.
Comic Nut says, Omnidog, after you finish BTS, you need to move on to Superman, Batman Beyond, etc. So many good stories. I will say that alongside BTS, I'm watching Brave and the Bold with a completely different voice for Batman.
Dietrich something. I forget his name is.
Diedrich Bader.
Yeah.
He was in Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, he was the what's his name? Break the wrist, walk away. Break the wrist, walk away.
Rex Kwon Do. I shall never misuse Rex Kwon Do.
What do you say? He's like, you would get a roundhouse kick from a guy wearing these babies? Yeah, I forget what it was, something like that.
Let's see. The Forgotten helping out chain gangs was great when he finally remembers, and it's Joker that shakes him to the core. Spoiler. Oh, here's a good point from Big J today. Mask of the Phantasm is my all-time favorite Batman story. That was the first. I watched that even before I started BTAS because you and I were doing a Batman movie show. And I loved that movie. That was such a great movie.
If it's not, it's definitely one of the best. I'm not sure what my number one is, but that's definitely up there for consideration. I think it has one of my favorite Batman moments where he meets Andrea, who he loves. It's kind of like his backstory for how he became Batman. He was on the path to becoming Batman in this flashback, and he meets Andrea, who he falls in love with. And he's starting to doubt, like, should I do this? Like, I feel like I'm happy now. And he goes to his parents' gravesite. He's crying and just saying, he's like, I'm so sorry. It just doesn't hurt that much anymore. He's like, can I just, not be Batman? Can I just not do this? And it's like, it's so tragic because your parents never want you to do this. Your parents never asked you to sacrifice everything and fight crime. That was your own thing that you decided to do. But he's begging his parents to let him go. That's such a great moment.
Barbara Eden, 100%. Thank you. Okay, we just answered this about Mask of the Phantasm. Right. Comic Nut loves it too. The Collector showing up. Good to see you. True Graphic Novel. Thank you for joining. Right. I think everybody feels that way.
Speaking of the show, did you ever read The Adventures Continue, the newest trade paperbacks they've released of it's like future adventures of the show?
I haven't. I do want to read that on the DC app, though. It's great. I've been reading a lot on that app.
It's written by Paul Dini, so that should tell you what you need to know.
Okay, that's enough. I could actually do that. Dean says, hey guys, sorry, did I miss a lot? It was a busy day. Yeah, Kevin Conroy passed away. Sorry to break it to you, but we're talking about it.
You never have to apologize for missing the show.
Right. We just are happy to see you. Let's see. Oh, here's Next Imaginaut. Oh, this is for you. So you can read it.
Okay. Excuse me. Yes, Adams mentioned that the chest hair was part of a conscious decision to realistically sexualize him. Well, regardless of the sexualization part, I think it was just realistic in general, which wasn't that common for comics in general.
No. I didn't know that. More realistically. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Superman can still talking about Superman's mullet.
90s Superman.
See, this is what gets me. Batman Silver Age Volume 1, late December. That's still like 1955 is when I think they're considering the Silver Age starting. I'm going to be 70 if I make it to 70 by the time we get to 68 through 70, which were the golden years for me. We need to move this along, DC.
Yeah, your daughter might be feeding you applesauce by the time you get this Bronze Age omnibus.
I'll be lucky if I'm still around. Yeah. I mean,
Tyler and I will be your age by the time we get this.
Yeah, time's running out. The clock is only going in one direction, DC. Hurry up.
DC is usually so great with their omnibuses.
What's that now?
DC is usually so great with their omnis.
Yes, the episode is like BTS adaptation of Canterbury Tales.
I'm guessing it's talking about The Legends of the Dark Knight, which you're going to be watching later tonight, right, Jess?
Right. Oh, man, when you said Legends of the Dark Knight, I mean, I hope we get a Batman Legends of the Dark Knight Batman Omni. So many good stories in that run. Back to Harrison Ford. Taylor, you just mentioned you love Raiders of the Lost Ark. Did you see and what did you think of the Big Bang Theory deconstructing Raiders? Did you watch that show?
Yeah, I watched that episode. I don't really care. It's still a great movie. That's not the point of the movie. It's pretty much the same for every movie. It's never about him finding the thing. It's always about what he learns from it.
Right.
He learns something different. He never really gets what he wants. That's not the point. So I don't really care because he learned something along the way.
Oh, Super Laugh Hard got a Grail today. I finally got a copy of Detective Comics 405, covered by Neil Adams. Also, first named appearance of League of Assassins, my only Batman Grail, and I am a happy chappy. That shows where he's from. He's a happy chappy.
Have you seen the episode yet, The Man Who Killed Batman?
I think I just saw that.
With Sid the Squid? That's one of my favorite episodes that nobody talks about.
The Man Who Killed Batman. Deanie writer, Tim director. This has to be amazing. And it is. Great fun with a schlub who everyone thinks has killed Batman. Great Joker appearance and Harley Quinn, I wrote.
Yeah, they have the funeral for Batman and Harley Quinn plays the kazoo. And then after she's done, Joker goes, well, that was fun. Who's the Chinese? I just love that. That episode is so great. No one ever talks about it. I think it's one of the top 5 best episodes. Because again, it's always. I love Batman. I love when there's episodes that explore Batman, but I also love the episodes where he's like the side character, and there's somebody else who comes to the forefront. Like do you watch the Bullet for Bullock episode? Where there's somebody who's trying to kill Harvey Bullock.
I feel like I did see that because Bullock's voiced really well in that too.
Right.
A Bullet for Bullock. Fun to see more Bullock, but even I figured this one out immediately. LOL. First Batman and Robin adventures I saw. So that was the first Batman and Robin adventures one that I saw.
Yeah, because that's the one where you think obviously you figured it out, but you think he's being targeted by some gang members, but it's really his landlord who hates him and wants to get him out of the building.
MA40, Legend of the Dark Knight was a great series. Unfortunately, I think if there ever are big collections of that, I feel they might skip issues they feel are not popular. Just give us anything of that series, DC.
Just do hardcovers of the most popular ones. Like Prey is like, didn't you get Prey while you were in Pittsburgh, Jess?
I did, yeah.
You got Venom too, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
They're like impossible to get now. Like Prey, Venom, what else?
They're impossible to get when I found them last year.
Right. That's what I'm saying. At least like put out some of these popular ones in hardcover.
Yeah, there's Prey, Venom, and
they did Gothic in hardcover by Grant Morrison years ago. Why don't you do that for all of the ones that are popular?
Yeah.
What's the other one by Denny O'Neil? Oh crap. It's a weird name that what's that called? Somebody can remember. What was the one? List some of the early Legends of the Dark Knight and see if I can figure it out.
Oh, I don't know that I could.
No,
I don't have them.
I'm talking about the chat.
Oh, all right. They can help you. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. They can help you. Tasty Melon. Got to meet him last year at Dallas Comic Con. I had him sign a Batmobile. That's cool.
That's one thing that kind of bums me out. I've never gotten to go to a lot of cons and stuff, and COVID kind of ruined that for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine to go to them now, but I know for a while they weren't having them. But I know we were hoping to go to, what was it, Baltimore or Awesome Con we were planning to go to before COVID. Do you remember?
Awesome Con, yeah. You guys were going to stay at our friend's bed and B&B.
Right. And so I wish I could have met him before he died. That's another thing that kind of sucks. I wish I could have seen him at a show of some kind and got something signed. Or I think even just talking to him more than anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Batman Shaman. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Like those, why don't you just publish those ones that are popular? Don't do the whole entire run. I don't think there's a lot of them that I don't think there's like a ton of ones from Legends of the Dark Knight that people love. There's like a select few, like 5 of them. So I also am not one for massive omnis, like you know. I don't think you are either.
They're fun to look at, those 1,500 pagers, but they are I honestly haven't tackled a 1,500 pager yet. Like I have both Green Arrow volumes, and that is going to be an endeavor.
Right.
I read all the Captain America omnis in a weekend, so I mean I could do it. I know it's in me. Dean, I heard he had cancer for a while now. So sad when he died. I felt like a huge part of my childhood was taken from me. He will definitely be the Batman for me, even though he just voiced him for years. I think that speaks for a lot of people. He will be the best for me always.
He started voicing him in 1991 before the show came out in 92. So he voiced him for over 30 years.
Wow.
That's the longest time I think any actor's played Batman by far.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, well, Michael Keaton's going to play Batman again if The Flash ever comes out. So technically, I guess he'd be the longest running Batman, but that movie hasn't come out. So who knows? That movie's never going to come out. They canceled the Fantastic Beast movie franchise, which I don't care about at all. But a part of that is because of Ezra Miller. So I am wondering what's going to happen with Flash movie.
I feel like he's sort of in the same place where Warren Ellis was for a little bit.
I think what Ezra Miller's done has been more like illegal activities and doing a lot of crazy. But here's the thing for me. Regardless of what the main actor of a movie has done, there are so many other people who've worked on this movie. And they deserve for it to be shown. The director, the writers, Michael Keaton, everybody else. Why should they be punished? And why should the fans be punished for all the horrible things that the main actor has done? I get it, but it's like the movie should still be put out. And I don't. It's just frustrating because the movie's already done.
Yeah.
For the most part, I think it's just frustrating where it's like one person has to ruin it for everybody. It's all these people poured their blood, sweat, and tears in this movie, and it may not be shown because one person did horrible things, which are horrible. I'm not saying that they weren't bad. It's just frustrating because it's like the movie should still be released for fans and for those who made it.
Right.
Don't do anything else with them. Don't make any other movies with them. Just show that movie.
Yeah, and my analogy with Warren Ellis is that I don't know how sincere yet Ezra is, but and I'm not condoning what Warren Ellis did or Ezra, but I feel like from what I've heard, Warren Ellis recognizes what he did was wrong and is trying to genuinely rehabilitate himself. And if Ezra Miller can do the same thing, genuinely try to rehabilitate himself and face up to it, then I think that's a good thing for everybody involved and will help everybody. But I also know there, are opposing viewpoints, and I get it. Let's see. Wait, did I already show Art? Hey guys, haven't been here in a while. Good to see you guys still keeping it up. Thank you for joining, Art. What time was that? 8:55. Oh, okay. I'm only 10 minutes behind. Good. Very nice. The Dark was afraid of Kevin Conroy. Natural Bridge. Nice.
That's like a Chuck Norris joke.
Better just look for any kind of hardcover, Jess. Omnis are always getting delayed, canceled, to being completely sold out, but I understand the search for white whales. Well, I'm just waiting for the Silver Age to get printed.
Yeah, DC's not doing a ton of Omnis anymore. That's for sure.
Here's Mr. Awesome. We've been talking about some episodes that I've watched, and after this, I'm going to watch Legends of the Dark Knight. So I did. I have not watched it in a while, but I have watched a lot of it, and maybe this will be what gives me the impetus to go ahead and finish.
Did you ever watch the Mad Love episode?
Mad Love. That's the one with Harley and.
Yeah, it's the adaptation of the comic that Dini and Tim did together.
Oh, here's Paging the Crime Doctor. Okay, I did see it. Sweet ending. Yeah, I had a whole. Okay, let's see. I don't know. Mad Love. Let's see. I thought I saw it.
It's in the final season, but I thought you might skip ahead because you love Harley so much.
I did not skip to the final season yet.
Okay, then skip ahead and watch Legends of the Dark Knight and Mad Love because you'll love both of those.
Okay, Mad Love.
I mean, you've already read the comics, so you know what to expect.
Episodes that focus on Robin and Nightwing are also some favorites.
Yeah, those are all in the final season.
And I will say, I totally am I've gotten to the part where Batgirl is introduced, and I totally dig her.
Yeah, and they have someone else voice her in the final season, and then Tara Strong becomes the voice of Batgirl from there on.
Okay. I just saw a picture of Tara Strong posing with Kevin Conroy.
And she was Harley Quinn in the Arkham games, I think, too.
Oh, okay. Lots of recommendations for Batman, Shaman, Venom.
It's pretty rare for us to be doing a Batman Baturdays. I guess it's the theme song.
Tau, Faith, Infected, Going Sane. I've read that. Shaman, Heat, Sanctum. Heat is good. Yeah, we are talking about Batman. At one point, Legends of the Dark Knight ties in the main continuity as well.
You know what I am excited about? That after a year, we're finally getting the new Nightwing by Tom Taylor standard size hardcover coming in a couple weeks, I think.
Volume 3?
Well, no, because here's the thing. It's funny. I skipped volume 2, Fear State, because I don't really care about the tie-ins for Fear State.
Yeah.
And they even have this another volume coming out in December labeled as volume 2. It's funny. They have this one labeled as volume 2.
Oh my gosh.
I just skipped the Fear State one because I'm like, I read Fear State, the main series, and that was good, but I don't really need to read the Nightwing Fear State issues. I better just I want to continue along with the Tom Taylor story. It just sucks. It was like, okay, this awesome first arc, let's go into Fear State. It's like, come on, like let him just do his own thing. I get tired of crossovers, man. Just let them do their own thing.
And man, 40, you're right. I did read Justice League Dark. That was a big Omni. You're right. Yeah, that was chunky. Lars says Legends of the Dark Knight Gothic is my least favorite Morrison series. Gothic Deluxe out of print for a while now.
Jess's favorite is Nameless.
Nah, don't start rumors. That's ridiculous. You know that's ridiculous.
No, just pretend like you like it so you appear way intelligent.
Way intelligent? Yeah, and Little Bird is my book of the year,
and
along with Nameless.
And you did your thesis on The Filth.
The Filth. Wow. I presume you both own and love Paul Dini's Dark Knight, a true Batman story. Yeah, art by Eduardo Riso.
That's fantastic.
It is. Venom was a great Dark Knight story. I only need a handful of issues to have the full 214 issue run.
Did you get all those issues back in the day, Jess? Like Venom and all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's when I had a regular pull back in the 90s.
Are those some of the books you sold in your mass sale of just like selling a bunch of your single issues minus the ones that were key?
Yeah, let me think. I did 2 of those. The first one, Third Eye, took a bunch of modern stuff, and by modern, let's see, they came to my house probably around 2017. So they bought everything from like New 52 on, and then my comic book dealer friend bought everything before that, including a bunch of Silver Age, all my Silver Age stuff. So he probably ended up with my Legends of the Dark Knight stuff.
Gotcha.
Okay, now this just isn't even funny. I shouldn't even have highlighted this.
Where's that radio play?
Somebody jammed us up about that the other night.
One of the biggest lies of my lifetime. I don't think Watergate was even this bad.
Taylor, that Fear State Nightwing story is important for Dick and Babs.
Yeah, I'll survive somehow.
I got it. Okay, here's a part 1 of 2. Oh, Cycle's still with us. Forgiveness is Yahweh's job. Judgment and condemnation is for the people. Fear State could have been fun had Future State not worn out the initial welcome of the concept, but I like the Alpha and Omega issues. I haven't read either of those, so I don't know. And next Imagine Out, I'll get to your question when you're done posting it, so I can just read it all straight through. Actually, I'm caught up with the chat. That's kind of surprising. So yeah, we're talking about Batman, Legends of the Dark Knight, Kevin Conroy, Tales of the Batman. I like, oh my gosh, that's a Tim Sale book. That's another person that we lost this year.
Oh yeah, that was another. I loved him. I know you weren't as big of a fan of his art than I am. I know he never really struck you as much, but I loved Tim Sale. I mean, Long Halloween was one of the first Batman comics I ever read, so that was always really important to me. And I reread Haunted Night on Halloween Day because all the different issues are set on Halloween. And I love that book too. Him and Jeff Loeb's partnership was always fantastic to
me. We know this is a lie, Roboters. Don't worry. I root beered that book, so Dean's messing with you.
The Widening Gyre,
and
the third one's never even come out. It's been like 12 years or whatever.
I'm fine with that. I did at the beginning of the show, Mr. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, wait. Next Imaginaut has got his whole sentence up. Just to dispel any lingering confusion, Flashpoint, or whatever it'll end up being titled, is still on track to be theatrically released. DC hasn't made any further announcements. To the contrary, and I strongly suspect won't unless Ezra Miller is actually imprisoned in the interim for something even more heinous yet to be revealed. Did you both enjoy the long Halloween special that came out? It was fun and showed off Tim Sale art at the end. I didn't read it.
I don't think I read it.
That's the one that came out this year, right?
Oh, I definitely didn't buy it.
Last month?
I guess I definitely didn't get that then.
I'll read that on the DC app.
Yeah, I don't get single issues anymore, so I must have missed that.
Lars says, Watchtower by Dixon Mike McMahon was great. McMahon is one of my favorite artists. The Batman Omni by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale was the
Pain Pill Order.
The Pain Pill Order, yeah.
I remember that one.
After surgery, I did a live unboxing on Omnibro, not remembering what I had ordered from IST. And I think it was 3 a.m. I was still awake from surgery, chowing down pain pills, and made that order and totally forgot about it and opened it on air. That was great. Yeah. People think that Gunn is going to plot a crisis event. They need to be careful not to rush it too much.
Yeah, are you excited that James Gunn is the head of DC Studios now?
I kind of am.
I mean, I'm pretty excited for it.
I
love the Suicide Squad movie. I love that.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, I just saw it again with a friend of mine. I could watch that anytime again. And I loved Peacemaker. I just loved that movie. I mean, that series. That's one of the few things I binge watched. I binge watched because I'm not good at it. Peacemaker, Haunting of Hill House, and Night Skies.
How right was I about Haunting of Hill House?
Probably the rightest you've ever been right.
How long have I been telling you that for? Probably since I met you.
Before we even had a show. So 4 or 5 years you've been telling me about.
Yeah, that came out like 2018, maybe. I can't remember when, but
yeah. So, and I think our friendship developed when I was in the hospital with pancreatitis. So that was late 2019. But wait, when did we start this show? We
did the show for a while, but we weren't really friends then. We were kind of like we would just do the show every once in a while and not really talk in between.
Right.
And then I think you got pancreatitis and I was texting you, and then we became friends after that, besides the show.
Okay, that sounds right. Comic Nut. I'm not going to disagree with this. Peacemaker is still the best show of 2022.
Was that this year it came out? Really? Maybe it was. Wow.
I think it was.
It must have been
that show.
It must have been really early this year. It seems like that was last year. Maybe I'm just way off. This year has been a blur for me with having a second kid.
Yeah.
It's like that. I've been telling my wife what they say is really true. When you have young kids, the days are long, but the years are quick.
That is totally true. Doom Patrol says it wants to contend.
I still haven't watched Doom Patrol.
I haven't either, and I have the first season on DVD along with Swamp Thing.
I tried watching the first season of Titans, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
I heard that gets a lot better.
It was rough. I just couldn't get into it, man.
A lot of people have said you should just start with like season 3, I think. And so I might do that because I saw the preview for season 4 and it looked really cool. Let's see. Lars Gunderson. I also saw that we lost Gary Leach. Sadly, rarely mentioned in recent reviews of the Miracle Man omnibus. Jess, is the Stargirl show on your to-watch list? It's ending soon. I do want to see Stargirl. It's supposed to be really good.
Didn't they cancel it?
Probably. He says it's ending soon.
And that's why I'm worried they're going to cancel Superman and Lois. And so I'm like wondering, should I continue to, because their one son, the one actor, quit the show, and they had to rehire someone else to play their son. I'm like, well, that's awkward. And then Stargirl got canceled. I'm like, oh, is this even is it even worth watching anymore? Is it just gonna get canceled? So I don't know.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. Gerard says Titans 3 is good. Just start there.
I do like who they have be Lex Luthor, so that could be cool.
Swamp Thing season 1 is so good, but it will break your heart because no continuation.
That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in like TV history. Where they canceled it before it even came out. Remember?
Yeah, because it was so expensive.
It was just funny. It's like, hey guys, we canceled the show, but watch it anyway. It's like, I'm not gonna watch. I'm sure it was great. But I'm like, I'm not gonna watch. There's no ending.
Yeah.
I just, if I know going into a show there's not gonna be an ending, I'm not gonna watch it. Like, at least with a show like Firefly, there was still Serenity. So there was like, okay, there's an ending to a certain degree. But I don't want to watch a show going into it knowing it's not gonna have an ending.
Well, and that's the thing that gets me about Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix. I don't even think they finished the season. They stopped. I forget if it was Mark Miller that wanted it to stop or whoever was responsible, but I don't think there's more than 4 or 5 episodes. I'm not sure why I should watch it if it didn't even have a full season. I mean, that's way down my list. Yeah, it's very likely Superman and Lois is ending too. Zaslav canning most everything. Oh, that is disappointing because I really like that show.
I really love that first season. It was really good.
Gerard's asking you a question.
No, I've had a lot of people recommend it to me, but I haven't watched it yet. I've heard good things about it. I do need to watch it at some point.
Maybe because James Gunn is involved, maybe he'll get to save some of these things.
Yeah, I don't really know. Does his oversight involve like CW shows though, or HBO Max shows? I mean, I guess it does because he does Peacemaker. I don't really know what the full range of what he's. I guess he is in charge of the shows too. I don't really know.
If he has sharp elbows, he should just make it to the top.
Yeah, but I wonder. I don't really know what the new plan is going to be going forward because the MCU is all one thing. But DC Studios isn't going to be all one thing because they're still moving forward with the Matt Reeves Batman universe, which I'm really happy about. But that's not going to be connected to anything else. So it's going to be a little bit different than Marvel. I'm not sure if they're going to try to create a more cohesive universe. Did you see Black Adam yet, Jess?
I haven't. No, it's I want to see Wakanda Forever this week and then Black Adam.
Yeah, I'm going to see Wakanda Forever tomorrow night. I still have a rainy day pass, free admission for whenever I went to go see Top Gun Maverick, and it turned off for 40 minutes. So I got 3 free passes for movies I've been using over the past year. So I'm using that for tomorrow night.
Nice.
I'm the only one in the theater so far, so we'll see if that trend continues. Probably not.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Let's see. He said he's in charge of films, TV shows, and animation, and they will all be tied together.
Well, that's not going to be fully true, though, because the Matt Reeves stuff isn't tied together. Maybe everything else, I don't know. And the Joker movie, there's still Joker 2 coming out, which I will not see.
Oh, my gosh. If that's true, that Lady Gaga is playing Harley and it's going to be a musical, I think that sounds like...
I didn't like the first movie, so I'm not seeing the second movie.
You couldn't pay me enough to see that.
Hey, if you're interested in seeing the Joker, go watch Taxi Driver or King of Comedy. They're much better versions of that same movie.
Let's see.
That's my review of the Joker.
Because he still has 2 shows. He still has shows greenlit. Okay. So we're talking about all things Batman. So I do have I do have notes on it on what I've seen. What the what? I don't. Harley and Ivy. Written. This is my 56th episode. Written by Dini. Great as expected. Why is Robert Costanzo listed as a star? Arlene Sorkin is a great voice actor. Robert Costanzo. I don't listed it as a star.
In which episode?
Harley and Ivy.
I think he was in that one, wasn't he? I'm trying to remember.
Why is Robert Costanzo listed as a star? I don't remember that. I don't know why I wrote that. I'll have to go back and revisit that.
Did you watch the one where Harley gets out of prison and she thinks she's being nabbed for stealing a dress at a store, and she ends up like causing a big scene, and she kidnaps a woman? That's a really funny one.
Was that Harley Quinard?
Harley Quinard is the one with the bomb with the Joker, where she gets taken out of prison by Batman to stop the Joker.
Oh, okay.
I think is it Harley's Holiday? Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah, I saw Harley's Holiday.
That one's funny. With that one has Robert Costanzo as Harvey Bullock, and she kidnaps a girl, Veronica Wheeland, who has a general for a dad who chases her with a tank. That was a funny one.
I wonder why I put that thing about Robert Costanzo. I don't get it. I don't understand. Wait, what was the name of the episode where Harley gets out of prison?
Harley's Holiday?
Oh, that's Harley's Holiday. Okay.
I believe so.
I definitely know I saw that because I remember that.
That's a funny one.
Harley's Holiday was the last one I watched. All fun and funny. Great voice acting. The General's tank was a little over the top, but the whole episode was LOL. Laughed and loved every minute.
Yeah, that's a great episode.
Baby doll. Deanie music. Haha. Creepy. Disturbing. Cousin Spunky equals cousin Oliver. Escape via big wheel. Shooting tennis balls at bats. That was dark.
Oh yeah, that was the one with the girl who had the catchphrase, "I didn't mean to."
Right. Oh yeah.
And then she ends it with that. Remember, she has her adult voice. "I didn't mean to."
Yeah. That was dark.
That's kind of a similar version to Almost Got 'Em, where they have like her catchphrase be the ending, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was really creepy.
Then there's a weird episode in the last season where her and Killer Croc team up together.
Baby doll?
Yeah. It's a very interesting pairing. I'll leave it at that.
I haven't seen Titans, so I don't dislike it, but Taylor didn't enjoy the first season. I might start with season 3, and
I gave up because the Teen Titans comics I've read for the most part have been kind of light and fun, and there's been some dark moments, but it was like an R-rated take, and it was just kind of weird and a lot of F words, and I'm just like, this isn't really like. I feel like this kind of show should be for kids too, or for teenagers. It seemed like it was just for adults. I just didn't really love the version of it, like where Robin says "F Batman." I'm like, ugh, I'm just not into it. But anyway, I'm sure it's gotten better since then. It's obviously still in the air, so people like it. I just haven't tried it since then. I'm just so busy all the time with my life and kids, and
yeah,
I have a hard time just keeping up with anything.
Yeah. James Gunn tweeted, "All our initial focus is on the story going forward, hammering out the new DCU and telling the biggest story ever told across multiple films, television shows, and animated projects." Here is something for you from Next Imaginaut.
I'm cheating myself out of some of the best art, however fragmentary, that the medium's ever produced when it comes to unfinished shows. Profit, which you would love, luck. Like I said, I'm just a guy who doesn't have a lot of time anymore. I feel like I used to give shows a lot more time than I do now. If I watch an episode and don't like it, I probably won't continue to watch it. I'm not saying the show won't get better. I just don't have time to see if it will get better. Like right now, I get like 2 hours. Jess, what do I call that 2 hours at the end of the night?
Taylor time.
And so I have like 2 hours of either reading, watching. I haven't played a video game in over a year. I would love to play the new God of War game, which I know Jess won't get because he never got past the bells in the first game.
No.
I'm not sure if this game has bells or not, Jess. But I don't have time to play video games because video games it's something you just pop in for 30 minutes. Like I like to play for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I don't really have that many couple hours anymore. So it's just hard to play a video game nowadays.
Yeah, same.
I can't play a game that dark and violent in front of my kids either. So when they're awake, so I have to
Right.
wait till they're asleep.
Lars thinks, I think Lady Gaga and Joker 2 would be a great improvement compared to the first one.
I thought Lady Gaga was great in the Star is Born movie. So she's
I
a good
didn't see it,
actress.
but I heard that she was good.
Yeah, she was great in that. I'm just not interested in Joker 2. I just didn't like the first one. I'm just not interested in the second one. I'm just not interested in the Joker really anymore. Like besides, I don't know. There's version of the Joker that I like, but I think he's so played out and just so like when they had the Joker cameo in the Batman movie, I was like, oh, please don't let him be the bad guy in the next movie. Please. Do something else. There's so many characters.
I totally dug that the Riddler was the way he was so dark and disturbing, and he was so twisted. And I was so disappointed by that, just like you said, by that end credit scene. I mean, that credit, whatever, the end credit scene where Joker starts cackling. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Give me Clayface or Mad Hatter or Professor Pig or the ventriloquist or something.
That's the only complaint I have about this universe is that, again, it's like the Dark Knight series where it's very realistic and down to earth. So there's only so many Bat villains that you can really do.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm excited for these movies. I love the Batman movie, but I would love in the future if they did a more fantastical Batman universe where you can have Clayface, you can have Mr. Freeze. I know Matt Reeves has talked about doing Mr. Freeze if they can possibly do it, but he's also kind of a stretch in a realistic version when you have a freeze gun. So maybe they can do it, but I think I would love in the future at some point to have a more fantastical series that has more supernatural stuff to it. And it has more of like, or more of the superpowers, that kind of stuff.
Oh, and Lloyd Wong's not here to make me remember to tell you all organic price books, $2 off. My code is Omnidog. And really save money, 5% off shipping 3 or more books together. Omnidog, ship it together. That saves real dosh. So, Lloyd, where are you? You weren't here to remind me. Definitely, YP definitely understands not having much time. That's why I tell my wife I'll do the dishes at 8 p.m. so I can listen to you guys while I do them. Oh, well, thank you.
That's a good plan.
Dark and violent games. I think the most violent game I knew growing up was Duck Hunt. Just blasting the ducks with that gun. I also remember Cubert cursed like a sailor.
Did he?
I don't remember that. Luckily, he was blurted out like F. Blah, 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 blah.
Did you ever play Duck Hunt when your daughter was growing up?
No, I played Duck Hunt when it first came out. When I first got the NES.
That was a fun game.
Oh, yeah.
Very one-dimensional. You can only play it for so long, but it was still fun.
Yeah. You only need to watch the Doom Patrol episode of Titans. Oh, they cross over. Okay.
It's like comics. Well, you have to read this comic first. You got to do this first.
Well, I am into the idea of watching Titans, and I really, really want to watch Doom Patrol.
I bet you'll get to Titans really soon.
I'm so glad that I watched Haunting of Hill House. I'm just so glad that that's something I said I was going to do, and I did.
What should be your biggest lesson from that show, Jess? The biggest takeaway from watching that show?
That whatever you recommend, I should watch immediately.
I'm not going to put any words in your mouth, but that's your takeaway. That's great.
I know that Dr. Sleep has to be next.
Oh, that's such a great. It was so cool how Mike Flanagan. I think Mike Flanagan's fantastic. I still need to watch his new show. His new show, Midnight Club. I still haven't watched that yet because again, I'm just so behind on everything. I haven't watched Andor. I haven't watched what else has come out recently. I can't even remember what.
I haven't finished She-Hulk yet.
I watched one episode of She-Hulk and I didn't finish that. I'm so behind on everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love how Dr. Sleep, he managed to make it a sequel to the Shining movie, which Stephen King hates, and to the book as well. He was able to honor both of those things, and it was fantastic.
I had only recently heard that Stephen King hated the Shining movie. But yeah, I need to see Dr. Sleep, and I want to see his Ouija board movie from 2016 because Ouija boards scare the heck out of me. And I know Mike Flanagan's good at scaring me.
Did you ever watch his movie Gerald's Game?
Now, I haven't because I don't. First of all, I love Carla Gugino.
Another Stephen King adaptation from him.
Yeah, I'm not sure I grasp the concept of how that's a horror movie.
Oh,
Is it scary?
You'll find out when you watch it.
Oh, really?
Do you know what the basic premise is?
I do, yeah.
Well, I don't want to ruin anything. I feel like if I said anything, it would ruin it for you.
Okay, but it is a horror movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
There's different.
Well, then
I think there's different types of horror movies. I think every horror movie there's different. Like there's slashers. There's the demonic stuff which you like, and this one's more of like I don't know how to describe it. Just watch it someday, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Well, I love Carla Gugino, and I mean, yeah, okay. I will watch it because I had a hard time figuring out why this was considered horror.
Let's just say the door was left open to the house.
Oh.
And that could lead to some things you can imagine.
Oh. Okay.
They're in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
There's a dead her husband dies.
Okay, no. Okay, I get it. Don't tell me anything else.
That's the basic premise. You knew that already.
I know. Okay.
See,
okay, I'm watching it.
You wanted me to tell you. So.
No, I know. No, stop. Cycle found Dr. Sleep too disturbing. That is what I want. I want to be disturbed out of my mind. I want to call my wife in the middle of the day to come home because I'm so scared and disturbed. That is what I like.
Yeah, Midnight Mass is also great, Jess. You have to watch Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
You watched that right when it came out, I think.
I did. I watched that over the course of the weekend. I had to see what happened. It was fantastic.
How many episodes is it?
8. What was that? How many Haunting of Hill House was? 8.
I
think it was.
I feel like it was 10.
It might have been 8 or 10 around there.
Okay.
I have a hard time remembering. That came out like 2 years ago, I think. Maybe last year. Actually, I can't remember.
Yeah. I still think about Haunting a Hill House. That's how it stuck with me.
That had one of the biggest jump scares ever for me. I remember like I was in the dark in my house watching it, and I just like, ah! and then I'm not usually someone who's taken by jump scares.
Yeah. Which
remember the episode where the two sisters are in the car and the head pops in from the back?
Oh yeah.
I remember I screamed out, and sometimes I'll kind of like jolt back a little bit from a jump scare, but that was the most I've ever gotten taken by.
And then they drive off the road because of it, right?
It came out of nowhere. Like you weren't expecting it because they were having like a 5-minute long conversation in the car.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the ghost head pops in and screams, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!"
And they drive off the side of the road because of it.
Right,
yeah. Okay.
Right.
I do remember that. Psycho says, I haven't seen Midnight Mass, but if Taylor's okay with it, I probably don't need to watch it. What? He's a great connoisseur of scary stuff.
Wow, that was nice of you.
Well, you are.
I mean, for Cycle. That was so nice. That comment was so nice.
Oh, well, Cycle's just being Cycle. I don't know why it wasn't all in caps either. Have you taken your medicine, Cycle? Why wasn't it all in caps?
The fumes from the Lysol he's spraying on the wall to dust it hasn't affected him yet.
Swiffer.
Oh, right.
Haunting of Hill House was great, but still the novel bests it by miles. I politely disagree.
Did you read the novel?
I did when I was 13. And it didn't scare me at all. And the series really got to me. I mean, it's still in my brain eating away at my cortex.
The next thing he's filming right now is The Fall of the House of Usher.
Ooh.
So that could be interesting.
That's great.
I'll watch anything he does, basically, besides the Ouija board movie. I'm not interested in that stuff. Everything else besides that, I'll watch.
I love getting scared by Ouija boards.
Did you have one when you were in high school or whatever, college or whatever?
Friends had them, but I don't think any of my friends took them seriously or did anything with them. But they just scare the heck out of me. With Midnight Mass, I just mean it must not push the themes he doesn't like.
Yeah, because they talk about religion a lot in the show. I don't remember there being anything I was offended by. But yeah, with Cycle, with Gerald's Game, I don't remember there being any nudity in it. But I watched that years ago, so I can't promise.
Here's a question for you.
I just did a post on that like a week ago for the end of 2023. Oh, okay. Some of the books I can remember. I'm trying to visualize that post in my mind. There's the Nightwing Volume 2 or Volume 3, whatever you want to call it, by Tom Taylor. The Multiversity Absolute, which has been delayed for like 5 months. I definitely want to get that because I never got the deluxe. Oh, the Ultimates Omnibus that comes out this week. I need to get that because I never bought that originally.
Oh, that's such a good book.
And that's an omnibus that's not too big, so I could definitely read it and not be annoyed by it.
Mm-hmm.
Crap, what else was there? Oh, Ascender, the deluxe comes out in December. Was it? That's the end of this month. Like the very last.
So.
Like the very last day of this month. There's something about in January we were just talking about. I can't remember what it was. We were just texting about it. I wish I had my phone. My phone's charging right now. I need to go grab it, but. Those are some books I'm excited about.
I think December is when Gwenpool comes out. That's what I'm excited for.
Is that an omnibus?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Oh, Philadelphia comes out this week in hardcover.
I wasn't a huge fan of that.
Oh, okay.
I read the first trade and thought it was okay. I just didn't really.
I really liked it.
I fell asleep like 5 times reading it.
Oh my gosh. I really liked it. I'm going over I still have the graphic for, there's Ascender, Baby Teeth Omnibus. That was creepy.
There's something we were talking about in January of next year that I'm really excited about, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, this is just for November that Webhead and I did. I don't remember what we were talking about for January. Do you remember if it was DC or Marvel?
Let me get my phone. Hold on.
Okay. Oh, Gideon Falls. I ordered that one. Absolute Dark Metal. No, I'm not getting that. Everybody should just wait on the, what the? Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen put their $650 million fortune into maximizing their stake in FTX cryptocurrency. What? Why is that a? That's on my preview. Why did I have that highlighted? Okay. Okay, everything, get off my screen. What is wrong? The buildup of the intense gothic vibe in that book is so fantastic, though. Well, I was 13 when I read it. Jess, you aren't into edging horror, I guess. Actually, I am. Comic Nuts excited about Peter David X Factor. Yes. Did you ever read Outcast by Kirkman, Taylor?
I didn't read the first trade and wasn't super. Again, I'm not really into the whole demonic stuff very much, so I didn't really continue with it. And Kirkman can be hit or miss for me, but I think my favorite book by him is Firepower.
That is a great book.
I mean, Chris Somney is obviously a big part of why that series is so amazing. But I that's like such a propulsive read where you keep like binging it. It's such a quick read and so much fun.
Yeah, I agree. What he's got another series out that's got like 4 hardcovers.
Oh, Oblivion
Song.
I haven't read that.
Has anybody out there read Oblivion Song? And can you talk me into buying all 4 hardcovers?
Okay, Jess, now I know what was in January that I asked you about. It's the Savage Avengers Omnibus.
Oh, right.
Because the thing about that is you can't read that series on Marvel Unlimited because it has Conan in it.
Right.
There was no Conan on Marvel Unlimited. So you can't read it, and I'm sure it's not on Hoopla either, and I don't do Comixology. But I've heard really good things. Because first of all, it's the Punisher, Wolverine, Venom, and Conan. That has to be good.
I loved the trades. I'm seriously thinking about upgrading. I really enjoyed that book.
I really want to get that book for sure.
Yeah,
it sounds really interesting.
I think you'd dig it. Tasty Melon's waiting for Grayson and Sleeper reprints. Awesome.
Oh, the other book I really want by the end of this year is the final Immortal Hulk Deluxe. So I could finally read the whole series. Because I read the first 2 hardcovers, but I wanted to wait until the whole thing was done.
Same.
So I'm definitely excited to read that whole series. That's like 60 issues, so it's a long run.
Yeah, I read the first hardcover and loved it insanely.
Now that's a good horror book, Jess.
Yeah, I agree. I've read Oblivion Song, the complete series. It's okay, so I'm not going to try and talk you into it. All right, well, I appreciate that.
Kirkman is very hit or miss.
Yeah. Grayson is next week. That's a great book.
Oh, the reprint. Is that the second time they've reprinted it or the third time?
I think it's just the second time.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't been hearing good things about Outcast. Firepower doesn't interest me. Oh, and Man 40.
I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's your life. I'm just saying it's really good. And this is coming from two guys who aren't the biggest Kirkman fans.
Right.
I'm a huge Chris Samnee fan. I think he's one of the greatest artists working today. And I still need to read that other book he's doing. He writes it and draws it. It's like what's it called? Joanne or something?
Oh, Joba?
Joba, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I have both those volumes out in the stack of shame.
Oh, you haven't read them yet?
No, I know I need to. Joba the Unbelievable or something?
It's my pipe dream that one day Chris Samnee and Mark Waid will do a Batman, like 12-issue series.
Oh, wow.
Because I love their run on Daredevil. I mean, I love everything they've done together, but I would just love to see them on Batman. Because he did, every October, he does Battober, where he has a different Batman sketch and like inking every single day. And he was selling them all on eBay, Jess. And I went on, the cheapest ones at $300. And people were bidding for it and stuff. I'm like, man, he has made a.
Oh, for the sketch?
Yeah, he has made it. Well, he inks it too.
Oh,
and
wow.
So he made a fortune on these Battober prints every year. I mean, good for him. That's awesome for him. But I'm like, oh man, I wish I could afford to buy this. It looks so good.
Oh, here's an important point. Half Decent Condition wasn't keen on Oblivion Song.
Half Decent Condition also doesn't like Brian Michael Bendis at all. And he also likes Batman Year 2 better than Batman Year 1, which is the definition of insanity.
Yeah, Half Decent Condition likes every single X-Men ever, and even the crappy ones. So, but if he wasn't keen on Oblivion Song, that's not a good sign. That's too bad. I kind of wanted to love it. But The House of Usher is the only story that scared the crap out of me. When she rattled the shields, I heard the sound at 2 a.m. Was that a Vincent Price movie? Or are you talking about when you read it?
Edgar Allan Poe story?
Yeah, the Poe story.
I don't know.
I remember that the fall of the House of Usher, I feel like it was Vincent Price when I was a teenager. Immortal Hulk. Shit, I told VG Plus Condition I hadn't read any Marvel in like 2 years. I guess this was a lie. You will have... Hey, James, how's it going? You will have to buy Savage Avengers Omnibus day 1 because it won't get a reprint because of Conan. That is a good point.
I don't think it's a thick omnibus either, so that's a really good selling point for me. Let me look. I can't remember how much.
I think it was only 5 trades.
So that's probably like 30 issues? Something like that.
That sounds right. 25 or 30 issues, yeah.
776 pages. That's just under the limit for me. The biggest I'll buy is like 900. Once you get to 1,000, it's just too much.
It's too much. Ooh, I do want to read Jurassic League. That sounds fun, even though I don't like dinosaurs. Yeah. Still, I will do it for Jurassic League. Super Laugh Hard still hanging in there with us because it's late in the UK. I'm looking forward to getting the Sleeper Omnibus. I've read about half of it when it was released as single issues. Can't wait to finally finish it. That's a book I loved. I did love that book.
It's Ed Brubaker, so yeah.
Yeah. You have a good chance. Mark Waid is full steam ahead on Batman right now.
I can't wait to read his... What is that book? Batman, Superman, Batman?
The World's Finest thing?
Right. Is the first volume that even come out, Jess? Do you know?
I think at comicreleases.com, I feel like it was coming out early next year.
I'm so behind on everything.
I feel like it's on its 8th or 9th issue.
March 7th.
March 7th? Okay. For the standard hardcover.
Well, that's what Amazon says, so I'm sure it's like the week before. For the direct market.
Man 40 says, yeah, Immortal Hulk Volume 5 and Savage Avengers for sure. Okay, it is a Vincent Price movie. Thank you. Conan the character is in public domain, though. They may still be able to print Savage Avengers. They just can't print anything with Conan in the title, I believe. I have zero idea of any of that.
Yeah, I think Titan Comics is doing Conan now.
Right. Oh, here's Rodimus. Since I am the leading Hispanic authority in comics, Rodimus always gives me some Spanish to pronounce. Let me take a last sip of to wet my whistle. Buenas noches. Que descanse en paz el gran ser humano y mejor Batman Kevin Conroy. He said, good evening. It was a loss to humanity when we lost Batman Kevin Conroy. How'd I do, Rodimus? The stream is going all night. Let's do midnight or bust. I love that Jess has said several times how he's reading on the DC app now. I am. Way upgraded. I upgraded to DC Presidential Suite or whatever it is, so I can read everything just a month after it came out.
Well, our next episode will have to be what we've read recently in our recommendations. That was the original plan for this episode until Kevin Conroy died.
Yeah.
So we'll get into some stuff that we've read recently next time.
Conan is just fun. My uncle has teased me about liking those books for years. He recently started reading Cull and is having a blast. Nice, says Roboters. And now my daughter's texting me. Oh, well done, Jess. Now Grayson Omnibus. Oh, now Grayson Omnibus. Comprar sí o no? Sí. You must get it. Grayson is right here.
Every book is right there.
Yeah, got it right here. Tim Seeley and Tom King with Mikkel Yanin doing the art. Freaking great. Oh my gosh, this book is just and I don't know. Ooh, there's Batgirl and Tim Drake and the whole fam damly. So good. Yeah, Rodimus, you need to get this. And this is the only omnibus that I damaged.
Ooh, what happened?
Know. I don't know how, but I think the dust jacket was raised a little bit and my hand slipped and tore it right here.
You got to upgrade.
You're not going to believe this, but I considered it.
I'm also. Here's the thing for me with damage on books. I feel like I don't like damage on books at all, but if it's on the dust jacket, it really bugs me because you can always see it.
Yeah, it's haunting me.
Like sometimes I'll have like dings on the corners of the books on like the inside of it, like on like the other side. I'm like, well, nobody can see it on the spine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most you see of a book. I mean, you pull out and you read it, but then you put it back on the shelf, and you mostly see it on the shelf. So as long as it looks good on the spine, I'm usually not that picky.
Yeah.
But I hate when there's damage on the spine. Every time I pass by it, I'm like, oh, it like pains me physically to look at it.
Oh, and it wasn't even Amazon that did it. I did it. I believe we answered this, but I'm happy to answer it again. Do you both own and love Dark Knight, A True Batman Story by Dini and Rizzo? I love it, but it's also a tough read, but it's an important read. It's so emotional. I mean, I love it as a well-written book, but it's really hard because he pretty much pours his heart out into it, which is what makes it a great book, a great real life experience. And I would always recommend it to people. But I mean, it's dark and it's scary because it's real life. I read it 2 a.m, and outside my windows there was an old telephone pole. On top, that was metal protection that was loose. The windows made it rattle. Oh, what is this from House of Usher? Wait, old telephone pole? No, I don't think there were telephone poles in House of Usher. Oh, was that from Dark Knight?
I think he was talking about the House of Usher.
I don't know. Oh, your stream stopped working for a wee while. I just got the new Dream of the Bat deluxe hardcover and immediately removed the dumb slipcase dust cover that comes with it because the type of black where it immediately leaves greasy finger marks. Well, you're not supposed to be eating KFC and then go read your books. Dark Knight is a one-time read, in my opinion.
I've read it like 3 times.
DC needs to reprint Dark Knight with better paper quality. I never really...
Me and you aren't big paper quality people.
No.
I mean, I do get annoyed, especially with Marvel at times, where you can see through to the next page.
Oh, that I get.
I'm not like a matte paper is from the devil type of guy. Like I'm fine. Like there's some guys who act like it's like it should be lining their dog's kennel or something. Like I still think there is some validity to it because you can't really smudge it, and there's not like if you're reading under a light, there's no gloss. So there's some benefit to it. I'm just not, as long as I can't see through to the next page, I don't really complain that much about page quality.
Yeah. I saw Spider-Punk, the first issue, at my LCS. And the cover is as thin as the paper. I don't know how anybody's going to get a nice copy of that book because that is the flimsiest cover I have ever seen on a comic, was Spider-Punk 1.
The only thing standing between him and us is a thin layer of gabardine. You know what that's from, Jess?
Say it again?
The only thing standing between him and us is a thin layer of gabardine.
No, what is it?
Edward Kramer's going commando.
Oh.
And he's like, he goes to Elaine and says, the only thing standing between him and us is a thin layer of gabardine.
And Man 40, I'm glad that DC released Flash by Wade Volume 1. However, they seem to be ignoring the post-crisis Flashpoint era 85 to 11 in collected editions. Is there anything in that era you would like to see? They're ignoring the post-crisis Flash. Wait, isn't that era the pre-crisis Flashpoint? 85 to 2011? Because Flashpoint happened in 2012 when New 52 happened, right?
Wasn't 2011? Wait, 2011 was New 52, wasn't it?
Was it New 52?
Oh, wait, when was
I feel like New 52 started in 2012 and Rebirth 2016.
I thought it was 2011.
It might have been. Flashpoint might have been 2011, and then New 52 might have started in 2012.
Let me look. That's an easy thing to look up. Yeah, 2011.
Okay.
August 2011.
Yeah, and then 2012 is when New 52 started. So that's a legit point. 1985 to 2011 in collected editions. I feel like there's probably some Superman that I'd like to see. Superman, Batman, but that's going to be a hard pull. Jonah Hex.
I mean, you have all that stuff already, so.
Sorry?
You basically have all the stuff you'd want anyway. Just maybe not in hardcover or this, but I don't think you really care.
I have it in trade if I wanted it.
I think you basically have everything that you want that's already been out.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I don't think you really have many like whales or anything you're still looking for, really.
I think there's some Batgirl, Cascane Batgirl that I don't have that I'd like to have.
Did you look that up here when you were here?
I didn't. I just recently discovered it, like Batgirl Redemption.
Just send me what you're looking for. I'll try to see if they have it.
Okay.
I can at least check for you.
Thank you. Razor, not a fan of matte paper. Carlin says a month or so ago, I saw those Dark Knight standard hard HCs at Ollie's. Went back today and did not see any. I did just get signed books back from Paul Dini, though. That's nice. With all these new reprints coming out, you appreciate the old glossy paper a lot. Unfortunately, 2000 AD now has a very thin paper cover. Marvel uses the same paper for their covers as their interior pages now. Ooh, is that right? For everything? Big difference in quality.
Yeah, Marvel Omnis when they reprint like books, they're always so much thinner when you look at the spine comparison. Like Omar will do like a spine. Well, I don't think Omar does it anymore because obviously he works for Marvel and doesn't want to highlight that probably. But I think I've seen other people do spine comparisons. It's like, ooh, it does look a lot thinner.
Right. Sorry to go off topic. No, Heroing 2.0. We'd love to take any question, but have you both watched Mayor of Easttown and True Detective on HBO? They're both my favorite crime series.
Yeah, Mayor of Easttown was really, really great. My wife and I actually both enjoyed that. And she's not a big crime TV show fan, but she really enjoyed that. And yeah, the first season of True Detective is a classic. The second season, I know everybody hates it. I didn't think it was the worst thing ever. It wasn't the best. It was okay. And the third season was really good, I thought. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it was still really good.
And I saw 3 episodes of True Detective with my wife, and it wasn't for her. It was for me, so I need to pick it back up.
Oh, it's such a great. You definitely have to watch that someday. It's a great. At least watch the first season because they're all separate and they all have like different cases and different people. That first season in particular is just fantastic.
I really enjoyed it, but Patty doesn't. It was too dark for Patty, so and I get that. We just both have different taste. So I need to pick that back up. I also need to pick back up on The Good Place because she lost interest in that.
That's a show I couldn't get into. I thought the story was interesting, but we never really laughed at it. And so like that's the thing for me. If I'm not laughing at a comedy, no matter how great the acting is or like all that, I can't get into it.
Yeah, I get it.
So that's why my wife and I gave up after 2 seasons. We're like, we're just not laughing. And if they're trying to make me laugh, I should be laughing.
Okay, everybody's saying 2011 for New 52. Okay. Superman Exile and Before Death for starters. We need a Batman Legacy Contagion omnibus. Prisco, how's it going? I would like to see Kyle Rayner Green Lantern Omni. Yes. Cycle Cleveland, Glossy Paper Drools, Matte Paper Rules. I've just read issue 23 of Miracle Man. I just had to wait 30 years. Oh, Mr. Awesome's 100% right. Secret Six by Simone would be an awesome Omni.
Yeah, but I got those complete collections, so I would never get it, even though I'm excited for people who need it, though.
Yeah.
That was a fun series. I really enjoyed it.
And those are hard to find now, right?
Yeah, I got them all at one of my honey holes had all 4 of them.
Nice. Yeah, Legacy Contagion. More Kyle Rayner also. That new DC app tier says they have collected editions. Does that mean they have collections as they appear in Omnibus so you don't have to search around for the issues?
That'd be nice.
I haven't gone that deep into the app. I have just read single issues. I'll have to dive deep in there and see if you can find a hardcover version in that app.
That's why I like reading on Hoopla because you can just read it as a collected edition. You don't have to like.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm almost done with Matt Fraction's run on Iron Man. I've had to read on Marvel Unlimited, and for the most part, it's been easy. But sometimes I have to go back and forth and like find an annual or find this one shot. It's like, why can't it just be here? Why can't it just be like in the next in the list? How hard is that? I've
heard a lot of people say that Matt Fraction Iron Man deserves a couple Omnis.
I think it would be ideal for 2 Omnis because it's about 60 some issues. That's way too big for an omnibus. But that'd be perfect for 2. That'd be perfect for 2 Omnis.
Just looking at it on my shelf, it's like this much.
Do you have the whole series?
I do, yeah.
So you have the 2 big hardcovers that are labeled as Omnis, but they're not Omnis.
I don't think it just says Marvel on them.
But if you pick it up and you take out the shelf and you look at the front, I think it'll say Omnibus on it, won't it?
Let me move Gambit here. That's the next thing that gets packed up is my action figures. Iron Man Extremis is right by it for some reason. Let's see. Fraction. Come here, you.
Yeah, because on Amazon it's labeled as Omnibus.
It's just one of those big hardcovers.
Yeah, they never. This is a series that hasn't been completed in a lot of ways because they put out the first complete collection and nothing else beyond that. which Marvel doesn't usually do that.
Right. This and the way I collected it would drive most people crazy because it's a combination of these two oversized hardcovers, then trades mixed in with skinny standard size hardcovers, and it's all over the. I mean, I have the full run, but it's not consistently trade. It's a mix of trade and hardcovers.
I need to get back to that because I spent the past couple of days reading and finishing the new Michael Connelly, Harry Bosch book. So I need to get back to, now that I finished it, I'm going to get back to Iron Man.
The Sinner series is really good.
Yeah, that first season was really good. The second season was kind of boring for my wife and I, so we skipped it. But that first season, it's like a one and done case. That was a really good show.
Okay, so it's a TV show.
Yeah, like it's every season is a different case, but it has Bill Pullman as the detective.
Let's see. The other True Detective series are great, but damned by the extraordinarily above and beyond greatness of the first season.
Yeah, it was hard to beat. It was hard to beat that first season, that's for sure.
Yes, definitely more Superman in those triangle years, right? Justice League Rebirth Omni. Justice League. Nobody's asking for Justice League Rebirth Omni, Casey Mellon.
Yeah, Jess bought it because Omar fooled him.
Yeah, and that was a prank.
And Jess has been mortal enemies with him ever since.
I have Secret Six and Floppy somewhere. Never got around to binding them. Last I heard, 5,000 Vertigo comics were supposed to be added this month. I don't know when collections are added. I will say that app is way better than it used to be. It was not a good app. They have poured a lot of time and money into that app now. Let's see. If we want to consider continuing with the show, I have to go get my plug.
I'm ready to wrap it up if you are.
Okay, because my battery's dying.
Went 2 hours. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that is. Everyone seems to love Fraction Iron Man. I wonder why no Omnis. Good question.
It is weird. It's really good. I really enjoy it. I don't know what happened, and they don't finish it in the way that they collect it. So I don't understand. I mean, beyond the initial trades and standard size hardcovers, but those are long out of print as well.
Ooh, Fables in absolute format would be gorgeous.
Maybe a lot of absolutes though.
That would be.
What would that be? You think? Like, oh man,
absolutes?
Yeah.
Holy smoke! There's 15 deluxe editions.
Yeah, that'd be a lot.
Wow. Yeah, I agree that that's something. The art is really worth it, but yeah, that would be a huge thing. I just get here and everyone leaves, just like high school.
I know how
well,
you feel.
I'm sorry, dude. My computer's about ready to drain out. So I apologize, but yeah, we're going to have to end the show. And I will just say, please remember our organic price books. My code is Omnidog for $2 off, 5% off. Wait, what are you doing? Okay, 5% off shipping 3 or more books. How many dogs are put together? And what is your Instagram that you'd like to promote? Because it's really good.
At Minister of Comics, where a couple of days ago I posted a reel of my son naming all of my figures on my DC shelf. So
it was awesome. Even I watched it, and it was amazing.
All right, thank you. So yeah, go check out my Instagram at Minister of Comics, where I post reviews, reels, and other stuff as well.
And you can find me on Instagram, Omnidogs_vault. And now to play us out is Nate Burkholz with a cut off his new album.
What does that mean? Play us out.
What does that mean? Play us out?
I'll do it live.
I'll write it and we'll do it live. MC, I'm reading the third omnibus of No Man's Land right now, and I love the story. Have a great night, guys. Yes, thank you, everybody, for watching. Appreciate the chat was lively. Thank you to everybody watching afterwards. appreciate all my fans. I appreciate all our fans, all our viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please go to Minister of Comics IG and my IG. Continue to please watch, like, and subscribe to the channel. And here is Nate Burkholz with the latest cut from his album to play us out. Thank you. Peace and love. Peace and love. And rest in peace to the great Kevin Conroy. Thank you, Minister, for being on the show. Peace and love.
Baturdays, Baturdays. Omnidog in the Minister of Comics. Talk forever, get right your ergonomics. Taking questions from the chat. With a name like that, you think they talk more about the fact. Baturdays, Baturdays.